to me, it's just like, I just have felt and found so much understanding and peace with my own journey when it comes to religion. And I just feel like being able to express that and to share that is so vulnerable, but yet so powerful. And so many people who are moving forward into this space of remembering are also letting go of maybe patterns or programs that aren't serving them. And that doesn't mean they have to walk away from the faith that they were raised in. But if it's not serving it, saying, okay, which pieces do serve you, which pieces feel right and which don't? And how can you come to balance with yourself for your own personal answers? And we talked a lot about that on our podcast, of those two ones, and explaining what we've experienced and how we've been able to find healing and come to know who God is in our own specific way. And I just think that since the Aquarian Age, since 2020, so many people have felt lost or alone, or they haven't known how to navigate spiritually. It's like pulling back to the ego's perspective again and saying, like, even if you have been wounded, or if maybe you're trying to figure out your own faith and you're going and you're exploring something different, and instead of making those who are very dedicated to their faith wrong or judging them for judging you, you're no different if you're judging in that same space, right? But even just saying, okay, I can see where they're coming from. I can see why they're experiencing that. And instead of being like, oh, this is the bad and wrong, like, you get to choose how you want to interact with that. Like, you get to choose how you want to respond, if you want to respond, or you can take a step back and say, what's the main lesson here? What am I to be learning? And move forward with that space instead of making everyone else bad and wrong, or vice versa, you making someone else bad and wrong if they don't believe the same thing that you do. We're all here in this human journey navigating, and everyone came with their unique experience. They came with their unique soul's contracts, and the lessons they came here to learn are so different. And so who are we to say this person needs to have this lesson and this lesson? Like, that's just not what it's about. And
I was going to say, even when we think about division, we're coming from a very cognitive space, right? We're not coming from a heart space.
Yeah.
When you live a heart-centered life, which is what we're being invited to do in the Aquarian, we're being invited to open, to activate the heart, to settle into that soulful, the seat of the soul, that Christ consciousness inside of us, that heart space energy. When you're coming from the space of brotherhood and sisterhood and connection and intimacy, it's not, you don't get so wrapped around the axle around language.
Yeah.
It's like, how often throughout history have we fought over language when really we were talking about very much the same thing. So when we communicate, and when you lean back into that heart-centered life, into your heart space, and you communicate from this space, you're not just listening to the words. You're feeling into what they're saying. You're feeling into where they're coming from. You are empathizing with their perspective, with where their heart is, where the emotions, their history. You're using your gifts of spirit and everything else to communicate. You're opening yourself up into multiple levels of communication.
Absolutely.
And when you do that, you're able to truly understand where someone is coming from. And people want to feel seen and heard and felt and validated. At the end of the day, they want you to know that you get it. So it's like, if we can connect with people from this space, even if we don't necessarily agree 100%, or we see things from a different perspective, if we can communicate from this space, we'll be able to bring people together.
Absolutely.
And that is another beautiful thing about seeing things from this perspective, because it's a heart-centered way of experiencing life and communing with life.
Yeah.